All right, good evening, class, and welcome to week number 14. That is right, week number 14 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. Jason K. Austin, and you all have pretty much made it. Like I said, this is week 14, and it's a 15-week class, so you've only got 2 weeks left for those of you who have turned in your lib guide, and at this point you should have late points will begin if you have not turned it in. But if you have turned in your lib guide, then the only thing left for you to do is to turn in that final discussion board post, which is due at the end of next week. And you also need to finish your semester-long projects, which I already see that I have 2 of those completed already. So some of you are really, really on the ball and have already finished the course. And for those of you who didn't, that's okay. You do have until May 9th to get those semester-long projects in. You are certainly not behind. All right, so what we're going to do this week is we are going to have a shorter video, and I'm not going to actually show you a database this time around. What I'm going to do is point you in the direction of some other resources. And the reason for that is I'm going to be talking about one of the topics that scares me the most in librarianship, which is government documents. I have 11 years total of professional librarian experience, and I kid you not, I probably pulled GovDocs the old-fashioned way maybe 5 times in a career of 11 years. Okay, so to put it lightly, I'm not good with SUDOC numbers, and I'm not good with government documents and pulling them. I'll just keep it real as to what it is. I do a little better with things that are available online, but, those are, when it comes to actually getting the good stuff from back in the day, I do not excel in that area. So what I want to do is, for those of you who may end up being government documents librarians, what I want to do is go ahead and, instead of trying to explain anything related to that to you all, because I'll just be a fish out of water, what I want to do is I want to point you in the direction of a few helpful resources. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to link to these resources in the announcement as well. So the first thing that I want to do is show you all a very, very good, this is a really good YouTube channel, and this is Help, I Am an Accidental Government Information Librarian Webinars. And really, some of the best webinars are really the old ones that are from, there are some that are just like from maybe 8 or 9 years ago now. But those were some of the best that are the ones that they started out with. But that doesn't mean that you don't have good ones. And you very much do have good ones that have been released very recently as well. And as you can see, they are still being released. So again, I think these go back to maybe 7 or 8 years ago, maybe even longer than that, 6 years ago. So I was off when I said 7. They go back to about 6 years ago, but there are still new ones being made. And as you can see, one was just released 3 days ago, and you have one that was released a month ago, and so forth and so on. But these can be very helpful as far as getting some of that, first of all, finding out what a government documents librarian might be asked. And then from there, in addition to finding out what a government documents librarian might be asked, these can also be very helpful in getting you, your brain flowing on how exactly you would handle some of these requests, because you may not have the exact same requests that a video from that one of these webinars is focused on. You may not have the same request, but if you have a request that is or an inquiry or a question that is similar in nature and would require you to find similar sources, then this can be helpful as far as getting your brain going in that direction. So be aware of this YouTube channel. I am subscribed. I have not admittedly watched any in recent years, actually, but I've watched some of the older ones, and they were very, very helpful. Census sources outside of American Fact Finder, I think I actually did wind up finishing that one, and that one was pretty good. So be aware of this resource. The next resource I'm going to tell you about, and I will link up to, is going to be, and let me pull this up so you can see the address here. So the Library of Congress has a government document portals and resources, and this is something of a LibGuide. And I guess you could call it a libguide, but and what I'm going to be showing you, the next few things that I'm going to be showing you, they're all libguides, but they all have their specific purposes and things. But this libguide here, it again will jump you to different things that can be very helpful as far as, and these are, if you see this lot, then that means it's not open access. It's got restricted access and is used on site at the Library of Congress. But if you scroll down, you'll see that there are some things that are free access, and there are going to be things that you can access, of course, through your local library. So these are some good things. If you need to actually access government documents, this is one place to go. Another place that you can look in order to get, I would say that this doesn't really help you with, it doesn't really guide you toward the information, but it sort of helps train you in order to be good at retrieving government information. It's going to be this Federal Depository Library Program LibGuide, but specifically the tab for this tab here. Beyond fdlp.gov, government info, librarianship, and lists. So definitely if you want to join a discussion list, this could be a listserv, and I'm on a listserv for business librarianship. If you wanted to join one for government documents librarianship, you could go here, and you also have some in, by the way, those webinars I was just talking about, those are right there. So these are some other things that are resources for helping train you and get you acquainted into being a government documents librarian. All right. From the National Archives, this is also very good to know that it exists, is this page here. So the benefit to this particular page here is that it's actually going to connect you to a bunch of other pages that can be very relevant and useful when you are trying to hunt down specifically, or especially if you're trying to hunt down federal government information. So it jumps you to several other libguides, including one at USA.gov, as well as some at quite a few major research universities here. Gateways and guides to federal information that can be very helpful. And then we've got directories and also some specific government sites. So this one can be one that's in your toolkit, and I'm going to link to this one as well. And then finally, what I'm going to do is you can actually, especially if you are looking for government materials for the for your particular state, and since we are the University of Missouri, and a lot of you, although not most of you, are from Missouri or are located in Missouri, I'm going to use Missouri as an example. But you can do this really with whatever state you're in. So I've got Missouri State Government Documents LibGuide. You can replace this with whatever state you're in, and then just go, and then you can get a lot of times the LibGuides that help you find information in the state. They're either from the state library or they're from one of the major universities, or maybe not even major universities, but one of the universities within the state. So as you can see, this one here is from actually is that all right, so that's from the state library. I didn't want to get confused and think that it was from the one of the Missouri State institutions, which might be what we have going on here. Yeah, so this one is from Missouri State. But if you're looking for the state information, I would recommend just doing this type of a search. And then you may even want to go ahead and like bookmark these pages on your work computer, because you never know when you're going to need them and when people are going to be looking for specifically for state information. So this isn't as good as some other state information access resources that I've seen, but you know, it is what it is. It's what we've got here. Yeah, so that is what it is. And yes, government documents librarianship is very tricky. So I would say that a lot of the people who do GovDocs librarianship are people who actually specialize in that. And so if you are interested in that particular type of librarianship, I would recommend that you and I wouldn't even be afraid to like cold contact people through email that aren't even expecting you to email them. But if you see somebody in your state who is a government documents librarian, just maybe even just reach out to them and say, hey, this is what I'm interested in, but I don't know how to even get started. Do you think we can establish some sort of mentoring relationship? And they might actually do it. A lot of librarians love having mentees, so you never know. We are a people who do not like to necessarily cold contact people, but a lot of times librarians are actually more receptive to that than you think. So, of course, obey online etiquette, but there are times when the typical online etiquette isn't really what serves you best in the moment. So keep that in mind. And with that said, okay, I did go over 10 minutes. I will not go over 11. This is Dr. Jace, and you are almost at the end of this race, talking, of course, about your 7314 race. Have a good one, and I'll see you next week for the last check-in video.